are live from the Green Valley Greenhouse, and we have a wonderful selection of guests joining us from city staff and other business owners. You'll hear all about the great small businesses and the things the city is doing to help them. So stick with us. Live and Local Ramsey starts right now. And we are back. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm your host, Winter Kuharski, here on Ramsey Live and Local. Our first guest joining us in this beautiful greenhouse that we have today on a wonderful Friday is the City Administrator, Brian Hagan. Thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for the invite.
So if I remember correctly, last time we had you on Live and Local, you'd been with the city for all of about 2.5 minutes. And we're like, hey, Brian, let's just put you on camera. Welcome to Ramsey Live. No pressure, no problems. Obviously, some things have changed since then, so give us an update. What are some differences between last time you were live and local and now?
Well, for one, I got a bigger heads up of being on here, and I actually understand what it is this time.
Good to know, good to know.
As well as a title change for me personally. But yeah, it's been a year, so I understand what the city has going on a little bit more as well.
Fantastic. So along with that title change, I'm sure that's some different responsibilities as city administrator. Can you talk about some of those responsibility differences?
Yeah, city administrator now, I just kind of get to be involved with more of the departments. Prior to that, it was a lot of focus just on community development. So nothing that I'm not used to. I've been in this role before in another city, but Ramsey's a little bit bigger. So
a little bit, yeah. And in addition to that title change, there was a bunch of stuff that happened in 2022. We're fortunate enough to have this show towards the end of the year. So let's take a look back at some of the highlights. What were some highlights city-wise, personal? Basically, let's talk about all the good things in the city of Ramsey.
All the good things. Yeah, we did do a number of good things. We're always trying to be business friendly, so we did do a few different ordinances that were business friendly. I think one of the more notable ones is kind of in conjunction with an upcoming project, and that's adjusting some signage regulations along Highway 10. Mm-hmm. Of course, we've got the Ramsey Gateway project that's been going on for a few years now, but we're getting close to the end. We're really close to finalizing all those design plans and getting ready to really start the project next year. Another project that's been in the works for a few years now is our water treatment plant. Mm-hmm. So those plans are nearly complete. We'll kind of talk about that as we look into next year here, but that's been a project that's been ongoing and taken up quite a bit of time, but an important one. We've had some staffing changes, obviously myself, a couple other positions due to retirement. So, you're losing that institutional knowledge, but there's still a really good team behind the city. A lot of them have been here a long time, and we're bringing in new staff to help us continue to grow and move in a good direction as well. Mm-hmm.
And speaking of some of the staff changes, we will have a few veterans that we've had on the show before, and also a new staff member as well. So you spoke about looking forward into 2023. What does the future? I know you don't have a crystal ball, but what does the future hold for Ramsey?
All the good things, hopefully.
Yes, fingers crossed.
No, the Ramsey Gateway project, like I said, that's been a big one. Technically the project itself is going to be a 2024-2025 project. Mm-hmm. However, there's some preparatory work that we plan to begin next year with some side streets and getting ready, so that way once the main project starts, people can still get around the area. Mm-hmm. We do plan to bid our water treatment plant next year, hopefully start construction. Along with that, we still need to finalize all the funding sources. Thank you, current economy and what's going on in the bid environment.
Oh yes, and the cost of materials and this and that.
It has not been good from the pocketbook standpoint, but we plan to get active down at the state again. We did put in an ask for some state assistance on funding last year. It didn't happen, but that would be a priority of ours, I imagine, going forward, is going back to the state legislators and helping out. Mm-hmm. We recently issued a bond. I know the residents of Ramsey, the roads have been a major focus here.
Oh yes, we hear about that frequently.
So council, they placed a priority to establish a funding source during this 2023 budget season. Just this week we issued a bond to help supplement some levy dollars to pay for road projects in cash, along with some borrowed money. So really next year we're going to start a pretty aggressive schedule on addressing just over 40 miles of roads in the next 10 years.
That's
so,
quite a lot of roads.
yeah, be patient with us residents,
Of
but
course.
we'll see some good progress made starting next year.
Glad to hear it. I actually had the opportunity to tag along with one of the crews as they were patching some potholes in the city of Ramsey, and let me tell you, those guys, they are out there, they are working hard, they hear you. We know that you need your roads fixed, and believe me, that crew is working as fast as they can. They're working real hard out there, so we're really appreciative of the fact that the city takes that into consideration, and every single day, I mean, it's kind of difficult now with the snow and everything, but I mean, up until we had a pretty, late snow this year, and they worked up until, as long as they could, kind of thing. So, in addition to the roads and the water treatment plant, some of the other fun things, I know that Happy Days occurs September is kind of one of the later festivals, but are plans already in motion for Happy Days 2023?
Plans are in motion. It is our full intent to have the event again. We'll see how it works out, but we actually did, part of the area that the event is held was kind of down in a hole, so to speak, but we found some fill to bring that up and make it level with everything else, hopefully allow people to walk around a little bit better and maybe even make it a little bit bigger. We'll see what happens.
Ooh,
but
excited to see what a little bit bigger means.
Yeah, but it'll be another great event, and along with all of our other parks and recreational programming, it's should be a lot of opportunities for residents to get out and enjoy stuff.
Oh, most definitely. I know that the city, I forget the exact figure of the amount of just trails and open spaces, and the Parks Department is really good about keeping those the trails groomed, and also the warming houses will be opening soon, early December as well. So Park and Rec Department, if you haven't already, check that out on the city's website, of course. And yeah, there's a ton of great stuff to find on the city website. Going back to something that you mentioned, the Ramsey Gateway project, that as Minnesotans, we don't really like seeing those orange cones so much, but what are some of it's going to be a headache for a while, but the advantages of having the Ramsey Gateway project in progress and being finished, of course?
Well, I'll start with our goal is it's not as big of a headache as it could be. One of our priorities in understanding that Anoka has their project going on and that impact to this region is how can we alleviate that stress on commuters. So our project, we will maintain 4 total lanes throughout the whole thing, where over in Anoka it drops down to 2 lanes. So once it's done though, we'll have road frontages along Highway 10, so all the accesses out to Highway 10 right now will go away. It'll be safer for visitors to those businesses. No one enjoys pulling out on a roadway that cars are going 60 to 70 miles an hour.
That is so scary, especially I drive a sedan for the most part, and I'm like, she's got some get up and go to her, but if I have to cross the 60 miles an hour, and then it's you're like, but if somebody's already in that median, and you're like, oh, and I can't quite see which lane are they in, how fast are they going? There's not going to be any more of that, right?
Frogger's fun on a video game.
Yeah, not in real life. You're right about that.
And then, another big improvement and really the goal of the entire project along the corridor is eliminating those stoplights. So there'll be all grade separated interchanges, and that will include a bridge over the railroad track. Railroad track crossings can be dangerous, and there's been some initiatives out there to eliminate those, and this project will eliminate all grade separated or at grade crossings of the railroad track.
And speaking of that railroad station, there's a rail station right in Ramsey. I'm sure that during this construction process, nobody's going to want to be stuck in construction, stuck in traffic. I mean, if you're just going to Anoka, the North Star commuter line, I'm sure, is a wonderful option for people to perhaps look into if you want to avoid the road construction, the orange cones, to look into the North Star transit line, because there's a stop right by City Hall. How convenient is that? I love it.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Those, I think the thing that I'm looking most forward to is not having to stop at those stoplights. Because when it is 60, you don't want to stop going 60. So I'm definitely looking forward to it hasn't started yet, but of course, something to look forward to. And I know that somebody's going to mention it. They're going to be like, well, they didn't talk about the bridge over the river. That's not a part of this project, right?
It is not a part of this project. It's we'll say it's on the wish list yet.
On the wish list.
We'll see how much of a priority it comes in the coming years, but
one thing at a time, right?
Yeah, it's out there. It's still getting considered, but there's a lot of different entities and organizations involved with that. So we'll see what happens with it.
We'll see what happens with it. Seeing what happens with that, a lot of different organizations. That sounds like there's obviously a lot of challenges that come with being the city administrator. So what are some things that you maybe didn't expect, but you've overcome in this very as city administrator, you have a lot going on, a lot of influence within the city. What is some of the things you might not have expected, but everything turned out okay?
Yeah, as I mentioned, I was a city administrator prior to Ramsey, so I wouldn't say there's anything too new and challenging. Different, yes. Again, just the size of the community here. So I think one of the biggest changes, I would call it, not a challenge, is just not being involved in so much of the details on the day-to-day stuff, staying more high level, learning who on the support staff is the resident expert on that topic, and getting to work with them. And that's really made it fun and exciting as well, getting to watch those employees work through their magic, and guiding where I can, and giving support where I can as well.
Fantastic. Well, that sounds like there's a ton of great positives as well. Do you have a particular favorite about being city administrator, thing that you're just like, I'm just so glad that I have the opportunity to do this one thing? You mentioned working with the staff and seeing them succeed, and all those the wonderful things that comes with a city staff that work nicely together.
Yeah, I would say the thing I find most exciting is just when you get that thank you from the public. We understand that it's easy to complain about the things that aren't going great, and there's a number of them. Not going to lie, but no
city's perfect.
No city's perfect. No one is perfect. But when we get that thank you and acknowledgement and things of that nature, that's what keeps the ball rolling in my work world, at least.
I'm glad to hear. Well, I will extend then my thank you, Brian, for appearing with us here at Green Valley Greenhouse and live, no less. So thank you so much for being a guest, and looking forward to all those wonderful things that you'd mentioned taking place in 2023 and beyond. And we'll probably have you on camera again soon. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you.
Great. So this is a very business-focused episode of Live and Local. We have a great package coming up on the Business of the Year, Plants and Things. Leslie Sauersmith filmed this story for us. Let's check it out.
Yeah, so, back in the 70s and 80s and 90s, we were more things than plants. We just developed and diversified into different products. One of our number one products that we carry is we're actually making our furniture out of recycled plastics. So the colors are dyed all the way through. It's made from recycled plastic, so it doesn't go back in the landfill. I think last year we used 80 million recyclable milk jugs. So we really kept a lot of stuff out of the landfills. And our number one goal was to keep our furniture made in America. So this way, if you buy it, you have an issue, a problem, we can warranty it. But most of this furniture is just meant to set and forget and enjoy. It's comfortable. Ramsey, they offer us this a lot. Through the 4 decades of doing business in Ramsey, when we first started here, this was kind of a Anoka. Ramsey was just a township, and Ramsey developed into the city of Ramsey and brought more people out, more apartments, more homes, more industries, and that's what's really nice. And again, that's what's forcing us to move up the road about 5 miles, is the industry in Ramsey's growing so much. The county of Anoka, they want to expand the highway, and they're taking out our location come summer 2023. But don't worry, we're continuing on up the road. About 5 miles from us, we're building this great big 16-acre outdoor store next to our 7-acre indoor store. We wanted to get a location as close to Ramsey as possible because they've been so good to us over the last 42 years. So our store is actually only 50 feet away from the border of Ramsey, which is something special to us because, man, If it wasn't for the citizens of Ramsey, we wouldn't be here. It's all because of our customers that we're here and we're growing, and we're still growing today. So we don't mind working through road constructions. It's the customer that makes it all worth the while. Oh, sure. Winning Business of the Year this year was fantastic. It was a tough year for us. You know, just like most people coming through the last 3 years of COVID, we've been just a little bit extra busy, and a lot of our employees, oh man, they've been working hard. They've been working 40, 50, 60, 70 hours a week trying to service the needs of our customers. But back in December 23 of 21, this is 22 right now, we lost our father, Larry Hickman. And him and my mother was original people that started the store back in '79. So it was a special, difficult year losing our founder of our company, plus my father. So winning in the Business of the Year 22, man, it was just the icing on the cake of a great business year for us, a difficult personal year. It was just something really special. And plus I got to go golfing with my mother and my brother. That was extra fun during the Business of the Year banquet and golf tournament at North Fork. You know, I'm always gonna be outside selling furniture or helping customers. That's what I love to do. I love working with people. I love people that work here. And I just appreciate every customer that comes in our store. If we don't get it right the first time, we try our best to take care of your needs. That's why we always offer great warranties and American-made products. So we always are concerned with quality and, to tell you the truth, comfort too. If this chair wasn't the most comfortable chair you ever sat in, you wouldn't buy it. But it's comfortable, it's good, it's something you can appreciate, and we appreciate you. So that's why we always strive to do our best each and every day. I just want to say it's truly been a blessing to be a part of the city of Ramsey since this late 70s. And it's been cool to see this business grow from a produce stand to a full-line furniture store to have the best outdoor products in the country. It's just been truly a treat, a blessing. And hopefully, well, like I said, I have to be in business until I'm 77. So I'm 52 right now. So you go see me around in this community now and for a long, long time.
Welcome back to the live studio portion here. Well, not so much a studio, greenhouse portion here at Green Valley Greenhouse for Live and Local in our city of Ramsey. And if you've not stopped by Furniture and Things and Plants and Things in Ramsey, you can't miss it. You drive right past it on Highway 10, and it is such a wonderful place to be, such a nice business to have in the city of Ramsey. So speaking of businesses, our next guest joining us here is the Economic Development Manager, Sean Sullivan. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
So I'm sure one of the things that you do as the Economic Development Manager is you help pick that business of the year, and I mentioned plants and things, but we can chat about businesses in general. What were some of the highlights of 2022? Some of the businesses that came to town, some of those land plots got filled up. Can you tell us some more about that?
Yeah, certainly. It's always exciting in Ramsey. A lot going on. It's a growth community, but over the past year we added 16 new businesses. Some of the ones that come to mind, Allison's Petite Pastries, Miss Is Ice Cream, O'Reilly Auto Parts, and we also had a new business open up that does welding training.
Oh, fun!
So it's pretty good. It's what our businesses are looking for, and it's another option in addition to Anoka Technical College. So it's pretty fantastic.
That I thought that I knew all of the business goings on in the city of Ramsey, and that one I did not know about. Have to check it out. I needed somebody to do some welding, and now I know where to look, or maybe they can teach me how to do it myself. Good to know. So I noticed that the O'Reilly Auto Parts, that's right down there in the core, correct?
Yeah, O'Reilly is right next to Casey's, right across the street from Alina. And you'd asked about, some of the newer projects, that are coming online, and those are under construction. We have an addition to the Coburn's development. It's called North Star Marketplace. There's a 7,200 square foot retail building that's currently under construction. No tenants have been identified yet, but it'll be the last building to fill out that particular development. We also have some I want to say projects that are in the pipeline. We have purchase agreements. One of them is for a hotel.
I was going to ask about that. You beat me to it.
Yeah, looking at an 82 unit hotel in the core. It would be a Hilton Home 2. But we're working through the city process on that. As you can imagine, a project of that magnitude, it's going to have a lot of meetings with the EDA and the city council, and to ultimately get that to the finish line. We also have a purchase agreement for city-owned land for Core Trust Bank. They are looking to put a small branch here within the core. Again, purchase agreement stage. We're not to shovels in the ground stages yet, and there's still a lot of work to be done in order to get it to the finish line. A couple larger projects that are kind of going on in our industrial area. Oppidan is nearing completion for 2 of its buildings. The first one is 111,000 and the other one is 147,000. They're industrial flex buildings within our industrial park. The first building, I believe, is going to be occupied by a company called Lexington Manufacturing. So it's good to see that these buildings are getting constructed and they're getting filled up. Kind of a note on that project, it's located in Bunker Lake Industrial Park. It's a public-private partnership. And for that particular project, the Oppidan project, it's a total of 405,000 square feet.
Wow, big space.
and the city did provide some tax increment financing for that project to kind of help get them to the finish line. But as part of that, we're going to see that realization of new value options for places to expand, and that business, or at least at that location, creating at least 100 jobs. So those are really good things. That if the city is to get involved in kind of helping these projects go, there needs to be some public benefit, and those are really good things.
Of course, of course. I realized that as soon as I was reading these questions and you were talking about the businesses that were moving into town, do you have any update on the Adrenaline Sports Center? Where are we in the process there?
Okay, I don't know if you're asking about the Anoka Ramsey Athletic Association and potentially a Sports Dome project, or whether you're talking about the existing Adrenaline Sports. Which one are you referring to?
I'm probably conflating 2 different things. Thank you for catching me on that. The one that I'm talking about is the Sports Dome project. That's the one that I'm talking about. Yes.
And let me just say, Adrenaline Sports Center does a wonderful job. We actually hold our business expo there in April, and there's a lot of other events, and they do a lot of really good things for the community. We're really excited to bring them in from the city of Coon Rapids, and they're being very successful here. On to the next question, or the next topic, which is Anoka Ramsey Athletic Association Sports Dome.
That's the one, yes.
They approached the city beginning of last year, or beginning of this year, and with a wonderful concept on trying to build a large full-size sports dome, basketball courts, soccer fields, etc. And they've been working with their group and to kind of get those pieces together. So during the process, we've been sitting down with them, planning, zoning, economic development, kind of getting an idea of kind of what the project might look like, how it might sit on the land. And the last meeting we had with them would have been, I think, at the end of last month. And they were moving along with their project. So pretty exciting news. They're hopefully or looking to submitting a preliminary site plan concept, and then at some point formalizing that to an actual site plan to figure out exactly how the building will situate on the land, whether there'll be some buildings that are attached to it or adjacent to it that might be complementary uses. So until we get that and an actual site plan is submitted, it's kind of in that planning stage. But
Gotcha.
based on the information we received, it seems pretty encouraging. And we, as a city, understand the impact of something like that. They'll bring a lot of people to our community.
Oh, most
it
definitely.
helps drive the economic development engine. I mean, it helps us bring restaurants. It helps us with all of those things that, you know, make a community whole.
Of course, of course.
But, you know, before we move on from that, in kind of concert with a project of that magnitude, the area in which they're looking to develop, which is just west of the core and east of Bunker Lake Business Park, there is not any sewer and water, and the roads and the infrastructure in that area are dated. So City Council authorized the study, and we're going through the process right now of putting together what it's going to cost to extend sewer and water and redo those roads in the area, which we will have to do that in order for that project to move forward.
So the amount of traffic that is expected to be in that area.
Yep, one is certainly dependent on the other. So, you know, depending on timing, you know, we know as a city we'll be able to deliver what we need to on time.
Fantastic. So speaking of roads and construction, the Highway 10 project, I'm sure is impacting businesses, you know, along that corridor. And can you tell some more about how Highway 10 will affect the businesses, and just so you know, the City of Ramsey is doing the best that it can and keeping everybody informed and keeping everybody up to date. So tell me some more about that.
You know, that's really what it's about. I mean, for those of us that have, you know, worked in this community for a while, Highway 10 there's been many iterations. It's going to be this, it's going to be that. Finally, everybody's agreed on a vision of what it actually is going to become. And we know now that we're going to have interchanges at Sunfish Lake Boulevard and Ramsey Boulevard. They're going to be elevated. They're going to go over the railroad tracks so that, you know, we're not having to get stopped for trains.
Right.
It's a little more expensive, but frankly, it's the right thing to do, and we have all of the funding to move it forward. But I'll be honest, I mean, from a business perspective, I do probably 25 to 50 business visits a year, and the Highway 10 is always a topic. It's been a topic, especially over the last 3 to 4 years. And the businesses are, I don't want to say surprisingly, but they understand, they know it's going to be tough, and they are seeing some impacts right now, but they all feel that it needs to be done. It's been overdue.
Yep.
And for the most part, everybody has been really receptive to the plan that has been accepted, and we can't wait for it to be done. To kind of talk a little bit about kind of how we've been working on it. So for those that drive down Highway 10 right now, I mean, I'm sure they're, you know, experiencing those delays in the Anoka area, and even in the Ramsey area when heading south into Anoka. And primary reason for that is a lot of the work that's being done on the bridge work in Anoka. So the project, the Anoka project, which is called the Anoka Solution, started last year, and that will wrap up at the end of next year. So at that point, you know, we're going to have, you know, 2 lanes of traffic on Highway 10 reopened again. One of the nice things about the Ramsey project, from what we've heard and what we're being told from Anoka County, who is the project manager for that particular project, is that during construction in Ramsey, when we're doing the interchanges, so for example, in 2024, when we do the Sunfish Lake Boulevard interchange, that interchange access will be closed for that year, but yet Ramsey will be open. And then in 2025, the reverse. So that one will be done. But with that, and during our construction, you're going to have traffic in both directions in 2 lanes for almost all of the construction. So you're not going to see those delays like you saw with the Anoka Solution project. So we're pretty excited about that, because to your first question, a lot of the businesses right on the Anoka and Ramsey border were really being impacted from that construction. And that's because the lanes were going down to 1 lane there. And you also had that stoplight at Sunfish Lake. So traffic was bottlenecking there. It was really hard to get on and off, and it still is at times hard to get on and off. And we worked really hard with the project team in Anoka. They brought us in as well and wanted our input. And to talk about the timings of the lights on Sunfish Lake Business Park, you know, excuse me, not Business Park, but Sunfish Lake Boulevard, to make sure that, you know, there's sufficient time for these businesses to be able to get out when the traffic was stacked up. So whenever we can, we're really doing what we can to help our Ramsey businesses. And the other thing that we've been doing, and I don't think, we weren't required to do this, is that whenever we get updates on the Anoka project, we've been shooting those out to our business list on email, even though it isn't directly related to them, just letting them know what's happening so they know what.
It's in that same area, and the cities are right up next to each other, and it's nice to keep that open line of communication.
Yep. So I imagine when we start our project, we're going to do something very similar to what Anoka has done, and have some dedicated staff to really communicating and letting our businesses know, not as it's happening, before it happens, so they can plan for it. And businesses will tell you, as long as we know what's coming, we can usually adapt for it. And that's pretty cool.
Well, that is such a wonderful update. We love hearing that the city is getting ahead of things, letting businesses know. And thank you so much for that, the wonderful update of all the businesses that you said 16 businesses moved into town?
Yeah, 16 new ones.
16 new ones. And of course, looking forward to having more in the future. Thank you, Sean, so much for that update. And we look forward to everything happening in the city. Thank you.
Thanks for having me on.
Great. So Sean did mention a couple of those new businesses that moved into town, one of them being Miss Is Ice Cream. And we have a really sweet story done by Billy Austin. Let's check it out.
Introducing Mrs. Ice Cream and Soda Pop Shop. Located in Ramsey, Minnesota, just off of Bunker and St. Francis Boulevard, Mrs. brings a new retro ice cream parlor experience to the Anoka-Ramsey area. I was able to catch up with the owners Ethan and Jess Pratt, the same owners who brought Ambi Wine Bar to downtown Anoka, to learn more about their story and goals with their new business venture.
When we opened Ambi Wine Bar, we wanted to create a one-of-a-kind, just unique experience that really focused on the ambiance. Over the last year and a half, we welcomed the birth of our daughter Isabel last summer 2021, and with her birth we wanted to continue to extend what we were doing with Ambi, but focus on new moments, more moments that were centered around family, places that we could take our daughter. And with that came the creation of Mrs. Ice Cream and Soda Pop Shop.
We'd like to think that we offer a different type of experience here. We like to incentivize people staying and enjoying the ambiance. So one of the questions that we'll ask you when you come in to order is if you would like it for here or to go. And if you say for here, we'll put it in a lovely glass dish or cup for you. And it really just kind of helps with the whole experience, tying it all together. It's part of great moments. So if you are having a glass like this, you're gonna feel that you can stay a little bit longer. We're designing the dining floor for that experience. Just really slow down, take your time. We don't want anybody to feel rushed, and having a stay glass item is part of that, as opposed to just a paper cup that typically people are used to getting in other ice cream shops.
As soon as you walk into Mrs. for the first time, you'll see just how inviting it is to stay, enjoy the moment, and the 1950s atmosphere.
With this space, we've been looking to really focus on the experience. As you can see behind me, we've got an old retro dining car where it feels more like your classic 1950s diner. And in that space, we're looking to host events, and so we'll be adding events to our event calendar now that we've passed our grand opening. And within that, we'll be exploring things like movies for large groups, potentially reserving the space for larger groups, and allowing people to entertain groups as they see best fit.
But of course, the main attraction is the ice cream and soda. And much like Ambi Wine Bar, the options are plentiful with different combinations of ice cream, cookies, and soda to enjoy together. It would be hard not to try something different each time you visit.
So right now on the line we have 12 options of premium hard scooped ice cream, and then we also offer 4 options of gelato, which is Italian ice cream. We're excited to see the trends that are coming in for what people are ordering. We had a lot of milkshakes be ordered, so that gives us incentive to maybe make those a little bit more specialty and fun. I'm personally really excited about our cookie sandwich line that we have. We have a fantastic one that is really surprising to people. It's a lemon cooler cookie with a blueberry cheesecake ice cream, and so it's just different. It goes outside of that classic, cookie, chocolate chip cookie dough with just vanilla ice cream. So kind of, you know, pushing those boundaries of all the possibilities, but yet we can still leave the imagination for them to create their own too.
What we try to do is have about 12 to 15 or so ice cream and soda pops both on the list, and the thought is to make it fun, playful, and drive discovery, just like with the wine bar, just like with Ambi Wine Bar. We're always trying to help people find their next favorite.
And of course, we're filming this right around lunchtime and watching that package about ice cream. I mean, I haven't had lunch yet, but I think I might have to start with dessert and go get some ice cream after we're done filming here. So as you know, we are live from the Green Valley Garden Center, and we are here with Aaron Davis, the owner of this fantastic space that we are in. Thank you so much for joining us.
You're welcome. Thanks for having us.
We are so pleased. I got to tell you guys, I came to visit here yesterday and met with one of the other members here, Matt, and he's set up this whole background. You guys have the poinsettias here. This is, I think, probably one of the nicest setups that we've had to be on location, and we are just so grateful for allowing us to take over your space. This is wonderful.
Oh, it's great. It's really good to have you guys.
So tell us a bit about how this business started, how this space has developed into today. Take it away. Floor's yours.
Sure. Okay. Well, Green Valley started in 1977. That was with my parents, Wayne and Jane Davis. And I have an interesting story for you about my dad that got him going with his green thumb. At 8 years old, my dad was approached by Gedney Pickles.
Okay.
And they had a program back then where they would travel around and give free seed to grow cucumbers. And my dad took him up on it. And so he would grow his cucumbers, and as an 8-year-old with his older sister Sharon, and they would bring their cucumber harvest each day down to the Gedney pickup spot in Anoka. So that's how my dad got started.
Oh, that's so funny. It's the weirdest things that just spark that interest, that lifelong interest in stuff. That's such a fun story.
Yeah,
Thank you for sharing.
No, it's pretty cool. So my parents, like I said, started the company in '77. And actually, about right where we're sitting right now, he built a 200-foot wood-framed greenhouse. And that was how they started. And it was primarily with vegetables. And from there, he got interest with Cub Foods, and he started growing some hanging baskets for Cub. And there was 3 Cub stores in the state at that point.
Oh, wow.
Today there's over 80.
I was going to say, I'm like, that's quite a bit more than 3 now.
And he sold to those 3 stores. And as his business grew, he would add on another greenhouse and added on another greenhouse. And all those old greenhouses are now gone. And we have newer facilities now, but we sit on about 154 acres.
That's a pretty sizable footprint.
We have, within that acreage, we have 25 acres of greenhouses and about another 10 acres of outdoor growing space where we grow garden mums in the fall.
Fantastic. So in addition to those garden mums, what other plants are you growing here?
Sure. So right now, obviously, we're getting ready for the holiday season.
Of course.
So for the winter season, we do 2 main crops, being poinsettias and spruce tip pots. This year, we're growing 86,000 poinsettias.
Oh my gosh, that's got to be every poinsettia.
It's a big
my mind
number
was
of
just kind of stuttered there. You said that number, and I'm like, I can't even imagine how many poinsettias that is.
It's a good amount. And then we're planning on producing about 125,000 spruce tip pots for this season. And those will be sold throughout the state to grocery stores and a lot of fundraiser groups and so forth.
Of course. So with that large footprint, I forget the accolade that you hold of, is it largest greenhouse is it in Minnesota? Is it in the Midwest? Is it? I know you can talk it up. You can say, yes, we are the largest greenhouse. So go right ahead.
So in the nation.
In the nation.
We are the 66th largest greenhouse in the nation. There's some big greenhouses in the state. We're right up there with like Virgin's greenhouse and Gerton's. Dan and Jerry's is another big greenhouse, and we're kind of all right up there at the top together.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
And you wouldn't think that, like, you know, Ramsey's kind of this, you know, like outer tier suburb of Minneapolis, and your products are going out to, you know, 80 different Cub food stores. What are some of the other partnerships that you have in state of Minnesota and beyond?
Sure. So we are basically we really have we have Cub Foods. We sell to Costco, and we sell to Costco within the state, as well as we do go to Sioux Falls. We go to Fargo. And actually, this time of the year, we do take some of our spruce tips down to Omaha.
Oh,
so
fun.
we do get down into Nebraska a little bit. We take care of our own garden center, and interestingly, our garden center is about 10% of our business. And back when my parents were running the business, the garden center was about 10%. So as the greenhouse has grown, Ramsey has grown, and you know, and the community around us we're this, you know, this cool mix of rural and development. And
it's one of the highlights, I'd say, of the city of Ramsey.
Absolutely.
Is that rural and urban. It's wonderful.
Yep. And so, you know, our business has grown with the community. And so our garden center is about 10% of our sales, and has been for a lot of years.
Fantastic. Love to hear it. So in the garden center, what kind of experience can customers expect when they go here? You know, somebody walks in, maybe they just bought a house. This is their first time decorating. They don't know how to decorate for winter. Oh, what do I do?
Yeah.
Is there
Great.
Who do I go to for help for that?
So, and I actually should finish answering one of your previous questions also about what seasons we go through.
Oh, yes.
So like as a homeowner, if you're going to come to Green Valley, you know, in year round, we are open year round. We're closed on Sundays, but open Monday through Saturday throughout the year. And like this time of the year, it's poinsettias and spruce tips and other holiday decorations. In the spring is when our busiest season is, around that push for plants once you know, we lose the snow and everybody's a little bit cabin fever going on.
Oh, most definitely, yes.
And that's when that is our busiest time of the year. And so at that point, we're doing hanging baskets, patio pots, an herb and vegetable program, all kinds of annuals. In our outdoor area, we have perennials, trees and shrubs. So as a homeowner, you know, hopefully you'd come in and be greeted by a nice, courteous staff, and they would direct you to get your house looking ready to be the envy of the neighborhood.
Oh, fantastic. And that is the experience that I've had every time that I've been in here. I must admit, I have a bit of a black thumb, and keeping my plants alive is something I struggle with. But I mean, every time I've been in here, you know, everybody's been super nice. And actually, the first time I was here, I was greeted with a tour of this entire wonderful space that you have. So are those tours, is that kind of like something that's like limited to Ramsey City staff, or if somebody wanted to know some more about what goes on here? Can you tell me some more about that tour?
Sure. So yeah, we did have the Ramsey City staff out, and some other representatives from the state of Minnesota, which was fantastic. And we took them through, and open to the public is our garden center is about an acre. So of that 25 acres we were talking about, the back space is where the production happens on a much bigger scale, and we try and have a sample of all of that up in our garden center that's available to the public.
So really, like, if you visit the garden center, like, you're just imagine, and you'll see all the product.
Correct.
Imagine it on a bigger scale. That's
right.
That's everything that goes on in those greenhouses.
Right. And we often do, you know, that's part of this community, you know, being in Ramsey and trying to be a good community partner. You know, we will often take school groups through, different businesses who want to come through. So absolutely, we do. A lot of the times we're showing people the greenhouse.
Oh, we'd love to hear it. Like you were mentioning that, you know, you said you did school groups that you never know, maybe somebody in that school group. This is the thing that kind of sparks their interest in plants, and maybe, you know, they start their own vegetable garden sort of thing.
Exactly. 2 weeks ago, we had the horticulture group from Hennepin Technical College came out, did a tour. We have a number of our own employees who have gone through that those classes at Hen Tech and are here now working. So that was a really fun tour.
Oh, I love it. And everything, it stays local, and, you know, it's the people that are frequenting here, they're, you know, community members, and you're involved in the community, and we love to see it, and involved with, you know, a community television station. This is just such a wonderful space that they've allowed us into, and I'm sure we could talk for hours and hours more, but I want to thank you so much for, again, allowing us into your space and giving us that history, and just having such a wonderful connection to the community. Thank you.
Good. You're really welcome. Thanks for being here.
It's our pleasure. So we've got some more business spotlights coming up. We are going to take a look at Ramsey Bicycle. I know that there's some snow on the ground now, but the bicycling never stops. And Corey Lang filed this report for us. Let's check it out.
It's a snowy afternoon, and we're hanging out at Ramsey Bicycle. Although there is snow on the ground, one thing is clear. Ramsey Bicycle has you covered no matter the season. From fat tire bikes to accessories, they truly have it all at Ramsey Bicycle. The open sign is on, and today we're getting the tour from owner and operator Al Adams.
We opened our store in February of 1998, so we're making that, 24 years. So we have bikes from everywhere from, you know, the kid's first bike from a Strider with no pedals all the way up to very high performance bikes, top of the line type stuff. So there's a bike for every style, every purpose, every need, whatever you like. Electric bikes has kind of been the hot thing. So it does open up the opportunity for people to get on a bike when they maybe feel they can't go as far as they want or whatever, and the electric assist will definitely help them get up hills, go against the wind, and just be out and enjoy bike riding.
Al knows a lot about bikes, and he stresses the importance of buying a bike locally.
We do, you know, repairs, and we have accessories, so if you need, you know, bags or water bottle cages or bike racks for on your bike or bike racks for on your car, or if something just simple like an inner tube or whatever, we kind of can take care of everything that's bike related. Stop by the store anytime. You can Google us, you'll find us, but we're right here in Ramsey, right on Highway 10, so pretty easy to cut to us.
Ramsey Bicycle is located at 6825, right off Highway 10 in the heart of Ramsey. Hey, stop in and see Al. He will gladly take care of your bicycle needs.
I am actually one of those people that bikes year-round, so it is wonderful having a resource like Ramsey Bicycle right off of Highway 10 there, and Ramsey is a great place to bike. All those trails are nicely well kept in the wintertime. Actually can bike from the QCTV studio to Ramsey City Hall for those city council meetings, and I think with that construction that's coming on Highway 10, it might be the faster way to get there. We are back live here at Green Valley Greenhouse with our next guest. He is the planning manager, Todd Larson. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks, Winter.
So, new face to the city of Ramsey. Tell us a bit about yourself.
Sure. Well, I've been here 7 months as of today, actually, but been excited to be here.
I feel like now we need a cake to the day. Okay. Well.
The great 7-month anniversary.
Yes.
Yeah.
Everybody celebrates the 7 months, right?
Sure, right. There's a card for that. So yeah, what do I do? Well, I lead up the planning division within community development. I have a great team of 4 people, 2 planners, one who's the city planner, works on more development projects, and then the senior planner who works on development projects, but also on a lot of natural resources projects and heads up our recycling program. Also code enforcement and one great administrative assistant.
Fantastic. And so how does one become a planning manager? What does that career path look like? Would you go to school for? Some of the interesting
Sure. Well, before coming to Ramsey, I was in the city of Brooklyn Park for 21 years. Rose through the ranks there up to senior planner, where I had up the new development review process, reviewing all the new developments and coordinating amongst the different departments and the applicants. So this was just the next step in that leadership journey.
Fantastic. Yeah, it clicks now. I'm like, your face when you came to Ramsey, I'm like, gosh, this guy looks so familiar. What do I know? It's because you were and I live in Brooklyn Park. That's why. It makes sense now saying that out loud. And yeah, like Brooklyn Park is there's not really a lot of, development planning opportunities going on. So moving to, another suburb out, there's a lot of space, a lot of plans that need to be made in the city of Ramsey here. Yeah. And we mentioned it in one of the previous interviews of finding that urban-rural balance. What kind of challenges does that bring up in your planning process?
Well, the biggest challenge is really what is it and where is it and what's around it, and just kind of making sure that kind of all the expectations of that site are met, and how can you respect the kind of the two different viewpoints of what Ramsey is.
Gotcha. So what's one of the favorite things that you like about working for the city of Ramsey?
There's some really fantastic people working here. A lot of people who have been here for a really, really long time, and then also a lot of new folks who are kind of bringing new energy to the organization. So kind of hearing the stories of things that have happened over the years, and how excited people are, even some of these long-term employees, of why they still have fun coming to work every day.
Gotcha, makes sense. So what are some of the plans that you're working on? Well, first let's take a look back in the last 7 months that you've been working with City of Ramsey, some of the stuff that you've been working on and some of those things that are still in development.
Sure. Well, our team, from a development standpoint, we've had a few businesses, and talking with Brian and Sean about Highway 10 expansion. There's a few businesses who are being displaced because of that, and just kind of getting their future new home all squared away from an entitlement standpoint. See, we have groundbreaking coming up for a new daycare, Little Explorers Childcare, at the corner of Ramsey Boulevard and Bunker Lake Boulevard. It's kind of a neat program. We have quite a few housing developments that are in various stages, a few that are basically all approved and ready to go, and we'll see dirt flying over the next few months, then others where they're just homes that are just starting to be built now. So.
Fantastic. Yeah. So with those new developments, it's kind of you see housing developments kind of go through these trends of what kind of houses are being built. What is the current development trends that we're seeing with these houses that are being built?
Well, for the newer subdivisions, most of them in town, the thought is a little smaller lot, but more in the house itself. I think people have seen a lot of TV shows over the years about the cool gadgets and appliances and the tech in the homes, that people are really spending their money on the interiors, whereas the previous trend was more of the big yard.
The big yard,
kind of a
the
thing.
manicured lawn.
So, right, now people are like, hey, I don't really want to mow my lawn. I want to play with my devices.
Yeah, my new Xbox, or I'm still on the wait list for the PS5 there. Yeah. So with those lawns, though, there are still some properties that have these larger lawns, and you mentioned that one of the departments that you work with is code enforcement, and something that I'm sure my neighbors don't like this so much about my yard is I'm transitioning to native pollinator habitat, but that's different from not mowing your lawn.
That is.
And I'm sure that's probably a code that you guys have to enforce a little bit more frequently. So
right. We do have a few residents in town who have pollinator-friendly yards where they have an actual established natural habitat, and they get compliments from their neighbors, and Chris Anderson, our senior planner, who's our natural resources guy, works with those homeowners who are interested in doing such a thing. Whether it's all or part of your property, he can give you some good guidance.
Glad to hear it. So it's all kind of looped into the planning department there. So is there anything else that you want to cover that I might have missed? Or I know that we've had all the heads of departments from the city, and I'm sure that I'm missing something. Is there anything else you want to touch on?
Well, you mentioned code enforcement. Craig Swalchuk is he's been here just 3 months or so now. What we're doing is working with the City Council on updating some of our code enforcement procedures to make things a little more cooperative in working with our residents who have some code violations. We are a complaint-based system, so if you have a complaint to your neighbors, let us know and we'll address it, but otherwise we're not doing anything proactive at this time. We are working with some abatement procedures so it's just not a big hit to the pocketbook, but still accomplishes the goal of getting property cleaned up. So we're updating those ordinances. Also the zoning code, rewriting that to make it a lot more user-friendly and streamline consistent terms, things like that. So
Gotcha. And I'm sure that if anybody had any questions about those, make sure that you stay up to date with our city council meetings, and you'll notice all those changes there. So, Todd, I want to thank you so much for appearing on our show. If my memory, it's the first time that we've had you on camera, and I thought you did a very excellent job. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Great. So we have one more local business that we'd like to spotlight before our show is over today. It is Allison's Petite Pastries, and I had the pleasure of chatting with Allison and getting a look at those sweet, sweet pastries. So let's check it out.
I'm Allison Griffith. I am the owner of Allison's Petite Pastries here in Ramsey, Minnesota. We have been open for 2 months now, and it's been going amazing thanks to the wonderful community of Ramsey. One of my specialty things that I have here are called petite gâteaux. It's kind of hard to pronounce, but it's a petite gâteau, so it means little cake in French. It is essentially a mousse element, something crunchy into it, a fruit element, a fruit curd, different elements like that create this thing. And what it is it's meant for like one person kind of thing. So with the petite, making things cute and tiny, but I also wanted to go for like the more individualized desserts. So behind me you can see all of the gorgeous petite gâteaux that I have. I kind of do a little play on different things, like there is like a brownie in there called Out of This World Brownie. It's amazing. It's the best brownie. Double chocolate, layer of fudge, layer of ganache, and then my favorite little cosmic sprinkles on top too. So it's something familiar for the city and for people around here to kind of familiarize themselves with. And then I've got my cheesecake, which is like, I will die with that recipe. It's the best cheesecake. I can turn any person who does not like cheesecake, after they try mine, they're hooked. My dad is requesting this year a French silk pie for Christmas, so we will definitely be doing that. The cookie boxes will be back with the 2 different sizes. Great for company parties, great for just having all the neighbor kids out in your yard making a bunch of snowmen and then having some cookies for them as well. The nice thing about those is we'll have kind of, the macaroons in there too for a nice gluten-free option as well. We'll have kind of our classic pack. Obviously my favorite Linzer cookies will be in there as well too. We'll just have kind of tons of stuff. We'll always have case cakes in there and cake pops that are themed. I literally can't wait to turn this bakery from Thanksgiving to Christmas in like a couple hours. So I'm very excited about that. The community has been absolutely incredible. I could not believe it. I literally, the days leading up to grand opening day, I was like, nobody's gonna show up. Nobody's gonna show up. They don't know who I am. It was absolutely incredible. Every time I popped my head up here looking, I got tears in my eyes because I was like, I can't believe this many people want to come and support me, and it's been insane. They've supported me at my house. They've supported me since I've opened. I've heard a lot of positive feedback from the community saying that they just love having a bakery in their town, and that's all I wanted to do ever since I was a kid, was to bring the first bakery to my hometown. And with Ramsey, they've been so awesome and so supportive and so just 10 out of 10 of a community. I couldn't have asked for a better community. There's no other city I'd want to put them in.
Well, that about wraps up this edition of Live and Local in the City of Ramsey. If you're watching us live, thank you for tuning in. And if you're not watching us live, thank you for checking us on the video on-demand replay. While you are online, make sure that you are checking out our YouTube, Twitter, Facebook pages for all things up to date on QCTV and everything going on in our other cities of Andover, Anoka, and Champlin. I've been your host, Winter Kuharski. Like I said, thank you so much for joining us, and thank you very much to all of our guests for appearing, and Green Valley Greenhouse for allowing us to host the show in this space. That's all from the City of Ramsey. We'll catch you next time. Thanks for watching.